All right, so we've done a couple of the Pinot Noirs. Now we're going to jump in and do the Lagom 2017 Chardonnay. Again, Spanish Springs Vineyard. For those of you that have been buying it the last couple of years, this is the only vineyard we actually get Chardonnay from. I'll let her talk a little bit about just kind of why we do Chardonnay in the first place.
I've always really enjoyed Chardonnay, and once again I asked my husband to do something, and he did. But I wanted him to make, we make a lot of Rhone wine, and then we kind of delved into the Pinot Noir, but I wanted him to make Chardonnay, and the style of Chardonnay that I like is really rich and full-bodied, and that's kind of, I think, why we decided to make Chardonnay.
Yeah.
And you've been making Chardonnay for a long time, just not here in Paso.
Right.
Yeah.
So Chardonnay, as a varietal, is really fantastic. I mean, it's just unbelievably amazing wine. Some of the best wines in the world. We had been exposed or had an opportunity to try some aged California Chardonnay a while back. So about 10-year-old California Chardonnays from some pretty premier producers up in the Napa, Sonoma area, and really blown away with how amazing these wines were, after some time in bottle. So one thing that's a little unique about the way we go about our winemaking process here is this is the 2017 vintage. Technically, we shouldn't really be releasing this till about September. But the idea being it gets a full year in barrel, then as close to 2 years, I guess, as we could get in bottle before we release it. So what we want to do is give you guys a little bit of a snapshot into not fully aged, but a little bit more mature Chardonnay. So the wines age beautifully. They've got unbelievable acidity from this particular site. And, it really complexes with all the fruit characteristics and texture and weight and all these things we're trying to do. So the wine is beautiful today. It's going to be beautiful 5 years, 7 years, 10 years from now. Right. So Spanish Springs Vineyard is down just inland from Pismo Beach.
Yep.
It's about literally from standing in the vineyard to standing with your toes in the water, the Pacific. It's less than 2 miles.
So it gets warm days then?
It gets warm days, but there's kind of this little hill, I guess, little range or whatever that goes right along the coast. Kind of blocks out initial wind and fog and that kind of stuff. And so it gets plenty of cool air. It's not a hot area, but it does get warm enough that we get these amazing, beautiful, ripe characteristics. But with the soil and the marine influence and all that stuff, really stays almost at times on the verge of too acidic,
right.
Which is kind of interesting. So we have 2 clonal selections. One faces pretty much east and one faces pretty much west. It's clone 96 and clone 4. The 96 maybe a little bit, I'm going to say richer. The clone 4 for us is a little more acid. We blend the 2 clones together when we make the wine. We ferment it really, really dirty. All native yeast.
So what is dirty?
So we don't let, when we bring the juice in, lots of oxygen goes into a tank press, a bladder press, and just kind of sits on the skins for a few hours, and then the juice goes into a little holding tank, and we splash it around. It gets really brown, like dark apple juice. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, what they might do is allow that lees to settle, then take really clean juice off the top, maybe stainless steel fermented, that kind of thing. Really get a really crisp, kind of green apple sort of characteristic, that type of thing.
And that's a great style as well.
Yeah, maybe there's more naked styles, Basically what we're doing is letting a lot of those things that are gonna oxidize, they do so in the juice phase. So once that happens, right, then you go through a lot of that stuff, settles out with the lees in the aging process, and you get this wine that's this beautiful golden hue, but it stays this way for years. It doesn't get that kind of early oxidative characteristic. It ages incredibly well.
And that's because it's seen oxygen during the process?
Yeah, there's kind of the non-flavonoid phenolic compounds, all these things, they oxidize and settle out. So. So that's going to help you in that regard. Stabilizes the wine. You get some aldehyde development and stuff early on, and that kind of, these are kind of geeky wine terms, but
sorry, you're a little geeky.
But as you do that, then the wine is just basically stable for a long period of time because we don't filter it, we don't fine it, we don't do any of that stuff. So basically, literally, all it is you bring the juice in, put it in barrels. It ferments. Could take 2 months, could take 4 months, whatever it is. It just
or
takes
longer.
Longer, yeah.
So 100% malolactic.
Yeah, 100% malolactic. Probably about 40% new oak, all Burgundy barrels, and it really doesn't show it. It's amazing. It's amazing how well the oak integrates with this. Kind of gets that sort of crushed oyster shell, saline, kind of seashell kind of thing going on, which is kind of cool.
I'm gonna drink this by the time you're done talking, so it's
Couldn't
gonna be
tell.
on in my glass.
We have a lot to say about Chardonnay.
I mean, and good to open now immediately, but like you said, you can age it for a couple of years for sure. I mean, 5 years, 7 years.
Yeah. So beautiful stone fruits. Early on, there are some tropical notes, pineapple, that type of thing in here. As that sort of settles down, then you really get that minerality, that flint, some of the things that come through on the secondary notes that I think make this wine so beautiful. But for me, a lot of it's really texture. I mean, this has one thing that hopefully we're maybe known for, or a signature that you would carry throughout our whole lineup of wines is the way they feel. You get this kind of front to back, full texture to the wine. But this is probably something that I think is really going to stay kind of a staple of the lineup here for a long time. I mean,
Absolutely.
Stuff flew. It's crazy. I mean, we can't keep it in the house. So we're really excited about it. Thanks for supporting us. We appreciate that. And we'll keep making it. Hopefully you guys keep drinking it. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, and thank you guys for joining us again. If you have any questions or comments, please jot them down in the comment section or give us a call. You can reach us at info@tornwine.com as well.
All right. Cheers.